For 5G, certainly passive antennas will be needed, generally for above 2.5 gigahertz. The 3.5 gigahertz band is looking to be particularly important as it's likely to be globally harmonized. For millimeter waves, active antennas will be required as they will for sub-6 gigahertz massive MIMO. I think one of the biggest misunderstandings about 5G is massive MIMO. I think even the definition of massive MIMO is misunderstood. Basically, a massive MIMO link means nothing more than 64 or more antenna elements on one side of the link and much fewer antennas on the other side of the link, typically 2. So for a massive MIMO array of 64 elements at millimeter waves, specifically 28 gigahertz, the dimensions of the array would be 2 inches by 2 inches. But for 3.5 gigahertz, the array would be much larger, typically 16 by 16 inches for the 64 element array. Millimeter wave massive MIMO is different for fixed wireless access versus mobility. For the fixed wireless access case, obviously the target is stationary. It's your home. Think of the beam from the millimeter wave access point as a fire hose of data that jumps quickly from one home to another, filling up the data buffer there, storing data for streaming of video and for browsing of the web. The beam jumps from home to home, serving up each home's data needs. So basically you have a gigabit per second fire hose of data jumping from home to home in milliseconds. In my view, one of the biggest challenges operators will face with 5G is adapting to the new massive MIMO antenna technology. There are many challenges here. For example, how do you measure the beam pattern of a massive MIMO antenna? How do you radio plan? How do you assess one product's performance against another? How do you drive test a massive MIMO antenna? These are the challenges I see that operators will be facing. From an overall industry and antenna perspective, I think there are a couple of interesting things to watch. For sub-6 gigahertz massive MIMO, will the spectral efficiency gains outweigh the additional cost of the antenna, the reduction in reliability, and the cost of using up additional tower space? For millimeter wave, there are going to be many challenges. Just the amount of densification that's needed, the number of base stations, the issues with handset blockage, and the dense radiation from the handset antennas. There's going to be a lot of issues to solve, but I am confident that they're solvable.